everyone, it's Robin Nola, and tonight my husband's making one of my favorite meals, and I thought we would share it with you because it's absolutely delicious. And it's I have a lot of allergies, so I'm allergic to wheat, corn, and soy. One of my favorite things is P.F. Chang's vegetarian lettuce wraps, and I don't eat tofu because I can't eat soy, and their sauce has corn in it. All of their sauces have corn, so they're not all corn-free. I think theirs is gluten-free, but anyway. So the ingredients are ginger, garlic, jicama, baby bella mushrooms, shiitake mushrooms, green onion, the whole batch, and then these are the lettuce cups. So organic, iceberg lettuce we use for the lettuce cups. And then a little bit of the tomato sauce. Coconut aminos is a really good soy sauce replacement that's gluten-free, corn-free, and it's made with coconut. And then olive oil. So those are the ingredients.
So I've peeled and prepped equal amounts of ginger and garlic. I try to do roughly the same amount, and then neither flavor overwhelms one another. If you're a fan of garlic, add more. If you're a fan of ginger, or add more or less, it's up to you. Then I put it all into food processor and we blitz it up. So if you got your headphones on, this is going to be noisy. Now you see we got lots of little pieces, and that's going to be typically kind of hard to get out. So this is an interesting tip. What I do, take it over to the sink, and I put a little bit of water in here so that it all flows, and I pour it into one of these mesh strainers. You do this a couple of times, and you get all the stuff out.
That's a good tip. Okay, good.
Makes it easier to get it out. So I transferred the contents of the ginger and garlic from the mesh strainer into a small sauce pot, really any size you want, medium or small. But this is where we're going to build all the sauce. So we're going to add a little bit of olive oil. Extra virgin is good.
Is there a measurement, or you just eyeball it?
I say this is probably about a tablespoon I'm going to put in here. So we got it on medium heat for a few minutes. We're going to try to just coat it all in the olive oil. We're not going to cook it too much because this is what provides a little bit of the heat and the flavor of the sauce.
Looks good.
So it smells good already. So we'll get that cooking for a little bit.
And what are the other ingredients?
The other ingredients that we're going to use are the coconut aminos.
And they're delicious. If you haven't tried these and you're allergic to soy or wheat or both, like me, these are actually amazing. It's made with coconut. Show them the ingredients of this. Let's see, we can zoom in on the ingredients. Coconut tree sap aged and blended with sun-dried, mineral-rich sea salt. I mean, it doesn't get more pure than that. So, Whole Foods has these, and Sprouts.
All right.
It's really good stuff.
So the other thing we're going to add, because this is a tomato-based sauce, is we're going to add a little bit of store-bought marinara. You want to be as plain as you can. So I wouldn't get anything that has a lot of extra Italian seasonings.
Just really plain tomatoes.
Yeah, so this is just a plain tomato sauce.
Okay,
Or
you could use crushed too, right?
yeah, you could just use tomato puree or crushed tomatoes. That would work fine too. Okay, so we've got the ginger and garlic going now, and it's pretty good.
It's been like 2 minutes?
Yeah, it's been about 2 to 3 minutes. And I'm going to add, I'd say, about 3 or 4 tablespoons of the marinara. So I've got the 3 or 4 tablespoons, probably more like 4 tablespoons of the marinara, and it's kind of simmering here, it's bubbling. So we're not really trying to cook the ginger and garlic anymore, but we're just trying to basically create a nice warm sauce, get all the ingredients mixed together. So now we're going to add some of the coconut aminos. And so this is what's going to kind of give it the Asian flavor.
How much are you putting in?
I'm looking at this. I would say that's about it's probably about 3.5, 4 tablespoons as well.
Okay. And then this gets all happy and sits in there and gets all the flavor.
Well, when you mix it together, and what you're trying to do is to get the sauce to start to get a darker color. And so you don't really want to see a bright red sauce anymore. You want it to be a real dark.
And like P.F. Chang's.
Yeah,
go there.
like a P.F. Chang's sauce. So this is kind of what it's based on their pot sticker sauce, but they use soy sauce, they use chicken broth.
Okay.
And I'm trying to think of what else they use that we can't use. Oh, and they use cornstarch. Every one of their sauces has cornstarch in it.
So if you're eating at P.F. Chang's and you get home and you don't know why you don't feel good, you could be allergic to corn because everything they have there has corn in it. Okay, so the sauce has been simmering here for a few minutes, and now it's time to add green onions. I've got a lot of green onions here, so this is one. Batch. It's a whole batch that you would buy at the grocery store. I chopped them all up. So I'm going to get all those in here. They are so good for you. So add those to your diet. They are very high in antioxidants. All onions are really. And so this is a stage where you can see that the onions are kind of evaporating all the sauce here. So we're going to need to add a little more tomato, a little bit more coconut aminos. Whoops. The onions will cook down, so don't worry about that. So it looks like we're going to end up doubling what we did earlier. So another 4 tablespoons of each red sauce and coconut aminos. And then let it... Can I look in there? Yeah, take a look. We got to show them. I wish you guys could smell it. It smells so good. It does. And what amazes me is how close this tastes to P.F. Chang's. And every time I eat it, I'm like, I can actually eat this and I'm not going to get sick. So the sauce has been going for about 10 minutes. The onions are cooking down. So that's getting nice and happy. And we're just trying to keep everything warm. So keep it on low at this point while you're doing all the rest of your prep. So now we're doing some mushrooms. And what you want to do is get them prepped and chopped into bite-sized pieces. And we use quite a bit of both cremini and shiitake. And it takes a while to do it if you do it by hand, if you're not a professional chef with great knife skills. So I like to use this Vidalia Chop Wizard. And so what it does is it allows you to put your mushrooms in here and cut them into quick bite-sized pieces with minimal effort. So our sauce is simmering, and I forgot to add the mushroom broth. The mushroom broth gives the sauce a little more volume and a little more flavor, and that mushroom taste, since we're making a mushroom lettuce wrap here. So I'm going to go ahead and add in, I'd say, between 1/4 and 1/3 cup of broth, and then get that mixed in. Probably want to bring this up to a simmer and let it reduce just a little bit. Not too much because you won't have enough sauce, but I guess depending upon how much of your mushrooms that you're going to cook, you can judge your sauce accordingly. So you can simmer it longer and reduce it, or just keep it warm depending on what works for you. So we've got all of our chopped creminis and our shiitakes in a saucepan with some olive oil, cooked about medium to medium low heat. We just don't want to overcook them, but we want to get them warm, get them going. They look good. And now we're going to start prepping the jicama. And something interesting, a little nutritional fact, mushrooms are extremely high in vitamin D, which a lot of people don't know, and selenium. So, little quick tidbit there.
So jicama is a big root vegetable. Looks kind of like a giant brown onion, but not really with a skin. And it's kind of hard to cut and prep. So I bought some of this pre-made at the grocery store, and it's at Whole Foods, and it's been pre-cut into spears that makes things a lot easier in terms of doing the prep, because it's kind of hard to cut down. I also like to prep the jicama through the Chop Wizard. I switched to a smaller mesh, or not a mesh, but a smaller blade, so that makes them smaller, because you still want everything bite-size. So you go through and you blitz some of these and base it on how many mushrooms you have. So I'd say it's probably at least a cup that you want to have of the chopped up jicama.
So the shiitake mushrooms that we added to the baby bellas are a wonderful addition to this because they're very meaty. So it's a really good meat replacement. And here comes the jicama. Looks good.
The jicama is crunchy and very neutral tasting. So it gives you good crunch. It's a good vegetable.
It's similar to a water chestnut.
Exactly, because water chestnuts are sometimes hard to find, and they're always canned.
Well, and so, yeah, a lot of the canned, for those of you with allergies, I think all of the canned water chestnuts have citric acid, and that will usually be coming from corn and sometimes wheat. So be careful if you have allergies. You're better off just buying jicama.
So we've had the mushrooms simmering here on medium to medium-low heat for, I'd say, about another 5 minutes we have. And so we're about now, it's time, because the mushrooms have already kind of shrunk down and the jicama is warmed up and the flavors have blended together. So now I want to go ahead and add some of the sauce into it. So now I'm going to add some spoonfuls of the sauce into our mixture. Get the flavors blending together.
Look amazing, you guys. How lucky am I that my husband's cooking for me? All the girls up there are like, yes.
It's my pleasure, love.
Oh, thank you, baby.
So we're going to add a little bit more. And you can save some for later. Obviously, I'm not adding all this, but it's just based upon how much mushrooms and filling you have in your saucepan here, or in your saute pan.
And how saucy you like it.
That's right, you can always add more sauce. And this will become your lettuce wrap filling. It looks really good.
Now it's time to wash those lettuce cups.
All right, let's prep some lettuce cups. Now we're ready to prepare our lettuce cups. So we've got some nice iceberg lettuce. It's been washed and dried. And by the way, everything, all of our vegetables were washed and dried before we prepped them. Forgot to say it earlier.
Well, everybody should know that, but even the mushrooms, some people don't think you need to wash them, but I always rinse them and then I wipe them down a little bit because there's a lot of dirt on them.
So I'm using a plastic knife because when you're dealing with lettuce, if you use a metal knife, during dinner it'll be fine, but if you want to save the lettuce later, it'll turn brown because of the combination of the oxidation. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off the stem here. And then I'm going to bust this in half. This is the best way I found to get good cups.
I love these lettuce cups.
Whoops.
Okay, great.
Okay.
And he loves lettuce, so he's watching his daddy prep the lettuce, saying, am I going to get a little bit? You want some lettuce? Lettuce? Oh, yummy. It's so good. Good. He just got his bath today, so he is extra soft. Aren't you, baby? Yeah. We're getting ready to eat, and we're so excited. Doesn't it look good? There's a little extra sauce you can put on the side.
So now we're gonna build a wrap. I'm gonna add some of our filling, the shiitakes and the creminis and the jicama, and mixed in with the sauce. Add some of that in here. Smells so good. And when you make it, you'll be able to smell it and taste it too. I'm gonna add a little bit of sauce. Now we're gonna take a big bite. The big payoff here. Very good. Very meaty. You don't miss the chicken at the chicken lettuce wraps anymore.
Good, because we don't want to eat
The shiitakes are nice and meaty. The sauce has a little zing from the garlic and the ginger. And a little sweetness from the tomato. It's delicious, guys. You're gonna love this.